Hey boos, in this video I give commentary based on my opinion. Nothing is to be taken as factual. We are just here to have conversation. We don't expose and we don't sip tea on this channel. I'm giving you real talk straight, no chaser. Let's see if you can handle it.
Cause I'm a boss. Oh, hell no.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Yanni here and I'm back with another video. My Instagram DMs have been bombarded with this black trans rock movement. Now, as soon as you say things when it comes to this trans conversation, if you don't agree with everything that's within the movement, they label you transphobic. And it's so disheartening because it's not like you're against them. It's not that you are wanting to police who they want to identify as. It's not that you're wanting to police people in their sexual orientation. It's not that you're trying to police anyone. It's just a matter of maybe you are misinformed, like myself. Prior to me doing this research, I was misinformed. A lot of information was either confusing, it didn't make sense to me. As a cisgender woman, a lot of things did not make sense. You are looking at an individual that went to school, and when I was educated on transgender, at the time it was being labeled a disorder. At the time it was being labeled like it was a mental illness. Now when it comes to technology, testing, scientific research, with the world being more advanced, the information has changed, the information has been updated. Now you're looking at someone that loves research, looking at someone that likes to self-educate. Not everyone is really into that. Not everyone likes to self-educate. Not everyone wants to learn more about the trans community and be understanding of the trans community. I took the time to educate myself on this as an influencer because it matters to me. It matters because I view people for who they are. I view people for their character. Your sexual orientation, your gender identity, your religious background, your social class, your education, like your level of education, like none of that really matters to me. It's all about the character. And I can't help but notice that whenever I have questions, because again, I've been misinformed, as I spoke about in my early ages of education, and then also I'm confused about what it really means to be trans. When I say things out of confusion or misunderstanding, I'm bullied and I'm called transphobic. So it makes me not want to learn or not even take the time to learn about someone and their differences when they shut me down or they bully me because it's something that I don't agree with 100% or fully. There are things that my parents do, there are things that my friends do that I don't agree with 100% or fully, and sometimes it comes down to our differences. Like, we literally are different people. So I am going to apologize right now that in this video, if there are some things that you don't agree with, then please understand that it's coming from a place of confusion and it's coming from a place of being misinformed. I have questions and I really want them to be answered because I'm truly trying to find understanding when it comes to this topic. Before I dig in, I'm going to say it again. I don't judge people based off of their gender identity. I don't judge people based off of their sexual orientation. I don't judge people based off of their religion and their beliefs. I don't judge people based off of their level of education. I don't judge people based off of their social class or overall differences. I take you on as a character. Are you a decent human being? I look at the core values that you uphold as an individual. Before I dig into this video, I have notes here. I'm going to be throwing around terms that maybe you're unfamiliar with. So before I dig deep into this topic of conversation, I'm going to be giving you definitions on the terms that are being used. Let me rephrase that. correct terms that are used when you speak on trans individuals. So I'm going to start off with cisgender. Cisgender is relating to a person whose sense of personal identity and gender correspond with the birth sex. So it just means that a person that connects with their biological sex. Also, in this video, we will be separating gender identity and sex. So sex is going to be referred to as your genitals, and your gender identity is going to be separated from that. Okay? Another term that I will be using in this video is going to be gender dysphoria. That is the medical term that is being used when you speak on trans individuals. So gender dysphoria is a condition where a person experiences discomfort or distress because there's a mismatch between their biological sex and gender identity. Again, we are separating sex and gender identity. Another term that's used that I'm going to be using is gender identity disorder. Now, gender identity disorder is offensive to trans, and it's offensive because under this definition or term, it is basically saying that they have a mental illness. This term was taught to me in high school. When I was in psychology, the term gender identity disorder was a thing. In 1994, they reworded the medical condition to gender dysphoria. It's no longer being labeled a mental illness, it's being labeled a condition. So let me go ahead and give you the definition for transgender. So transgender is relating to a person whose senses of personal identity and gender does not correspond with their birth sex. So now that I have given you all the terms, there's another term, transsexual, but they find that to be offensive. So I'm not going to even use that term throughout this video because they do find that to be offensive. So now let's go ahead and dig into this topic of discussion. My question that I have for trans individuals: why did the medical field label you gender dysphoria? Why did the medical field put dysphoria as the medical condition for transgender individuals? That's the question that I have, because when I look up dysphoria, it says dissatisfaction of self. Now, what causes dysphoria? Well, it's a psychological state that is often caused by or accompanied by mental health conditions, which leads back to mental health illness. And this is what I don't understand, is if it's not being considered a mental health illness, why did they put dysphoria and use that as a term to describe transgender individuals? That's the part that is very confusing, and I'm sure it's confusing for many cisgender people like myself. Now, dysphoria is also found in cisgender individuals, okay? So, especially in today's age with social media being a thing, when you see a person that looks at themselves in the mirror and they're disgusted, they literally are utterly disgusted with what they see, that is another form of dysphoria. Another form of dysphoria in cisgender people would be people who are overly obsessed with plastic surgery. That's another form of dysphoria. On my platform, I like to use things like body positivity, self-love, and therapy as a way to heal those wounds where you may feel like you have a form of dysphoria. Maybe you just don't feel comfortable with yourself. So my next question is, when it comes to transgender individuals, transitioning was the only form of treatment. And I thought that was interesting because I'm like, why is that the only form of treatment? Now, transitioning can be broken down into 3 stages. It's socially, legally, and medically. Transitioning involves medical treatments or hormones, so that is the medical side. And then socially, you know, changing your appearance, changing your group of friends. And then legally is changing your name, changing your driver's license, things of that nature. My question though is this: I teach self-love and body positivity and therapy on my platform for women who have body image issues, women who are not comfortable with themselves, women who have low self-esteem, women who lack confidence. I try to create content that is that's the center focus, is for them to overcome those issues through, you know, bettering themselves and focusing on self-betterment by becoming more in tune with themselves spiritually as well. And that also helps with improving their state of mind, or maybe another form of dysphoria. So my question for trans people: why is changing yourself medically, which is very extreme? I went on Instagram to do more research, and I couldn't help but notice that there were so many individuals on there that were getting harsh or extreme surgeries done that I'm sure put them at high risk. Of course, you have the typical hormone therapy, but there were things like chest reconstruction, genital reconstruction, face reconstruction, and I feel like that's very harsh on the body. I teach cisgender women that before you go in and get plastic surgery, you know, make sure that you're at a phase in your life where you have accepted yourself. And I really hope that people in the transgender community understand that by getting all of that work done will not fix and correct everything. Which I couldn't help but notice that when I was doing research, it was saying that when you go through the process of transition, that you still need therapy. My question is this: is it really necessary for you to go through all of that to transition when maybe you haven't sought out other options? When it comes to cis women, we practice body positivity affirmations. We practice self-love affirmations. What did you guys do prior to transitioning? Because I feel like it's so extreme, and I feel like it's so risky for you to go through something so dramatic. So that is my question: is did you try any other methods before you decided to transition? Another question that I have: when I was doing my research, they said that trans individuals, their senses don't match their birth sex. So my question is, what are those senses? Are you even able to express what they are in words? And this is a legitimate question because honestly, as I was being informed by researching, I couldn't help but wonder, like, what does that feel like? Like, you feel like there's a sense that you feel that you connect with a different birth sex. Like, what is the feeling like? Is it an urge? And when I thought about it, I'm like, okay, I'm a cis female, and I have urges like horny. I have urges where I'm hungry. I have urges where sometimes I'm angry if people take me there. So I'm like, okay, well, what senses are they feeling when it comes to not being able to correspond with their birth sex? What is that really like? What is that like? I would love for you guys to explain it to me down below in the comment section. But that's really all of my questions here in this video, you guys. I really want you to take this video with an open mind. I want to close the bridge. I want to put that gap and just connect the bridge back together. Now that we got that out of the way, things that I don't agree with when it comes to trans individuals, and I'm going to tread lightly with this topic of conversation. The only thing that I don't agree with, and the only reason I don't agree with it, is because I feel that it's dangerous. And I'm going to give you my reasons on why I feel that it's dangerous. First reason: when it comes to trans individuals in sports, I think it's dangerous for either gender identity. And why is that? I feel like it's dangerous for either gender identity because when it comes to trans men, if they try to enter the NFL or a fighting ring like boxing or something like that, I feel like they're at a disadvantage, and it really puts them in harm's way, because you have to understand that you are generically enhanced and you're going up against someone who it's all natural, and you cannot be all natural. And what I mean by that, I'm only speaking on the biological aspect of it. I'm not speaking on identity at this point, because when you look at the body, women, biologically speaking, we were the weaker vessel. We're the weaker opponent. You are going up against someone, when it comes to trans men, you're going up against someone that has better muscle recovery, advanced muscle recovery, advanced muscle development. It's really dangerous. Like, I feel like someone could actually get hurt. And that's my concern when it comes to trans in sports. When it comes to trans women and cis women, them competing with each other isn't safe, in my opinion, because again, I feel like someone could get hurt. Cis women, we don't have advanced muscle recovery or advanced muscle development. So if we're going up against a trans woman being a cis female, I feel like it's dangerous, because at the end of the day, you cannot beat science. And we're speaking on biology, we're not speaking on sociology, we're not speaking on psychology, we're speaking on biology. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you choose to identify as, you cannot beat science. And as I was doing my research, I couldn't help but just question, like, how is that even fair for cis women? And then how do people within the trans community not see how that's kind of harmful for trans men who want to compete in spaces like professional sports? So my next reason for this also being dangerous, this is socially dangerous in my opinion when it comes to trans individuals. A lot of people are wanting to say that trans people, it's a desire, like they're trying to make it seem like it's a desire for you to be trans woman, to identify as trans woman or trans man. The reason why is because the pedophilia community, yes, there is a such thing, wants to latch on to the LGBTQ community and say that, hey, we have a similar desire, but it's for children. And this is where the lines get really blurry for me. And it's like, I want to respect people and their differences, but it's like I have to draw the line when it comes to the desire of children and it's coming from adults. It's very weird and it really blurs the lines for me. Another thing, when it comes to this Black Girls Rock, socially speaking, and what I mean by socially, how, and this is speaking on trans Black women, the issue that I have with it is that when it comes to social setting, Black women are already stereotyped as the most masculine out of any race of women. So to blur the lines when it comes to trans, I don't want to say invading our space, but accompanying our spaces, that does not help the average Black woman. We're already viewed as mules in society. We're already viewed as we don't need a man, or we can take it, or just deal with it, or just put up with it. And we're tired. We're tired. We're exhausted. When it comes to trans men, there's no real threat because, of course, cisgender males are the stronger vessel. And we're speaking on biological terms. We're not speaking on gender identity terms. That is why a lot of cisgender females are upset. It's because we are already the weaker vessel. And so biologically speaking, when a transgender woman is wanting to accompany us within these spaces that we created for the disadvantages and unequality of cisgender women. When it comes to Black Girls Rock, I see why Black women are upset and I understand it. And I really wish that trans individuals would be more understanding of where we're coming from and be understanding that we had to fight for the rights that we have. It kind of feels like it's being taken from us. And if we speak up and say we don't like something or we don't agree, we're automatically labeled transphobic. And I feel like it's really unfair because everyone is creating their own space and everyone is trying to create opportunities for themselves. But then somehow cisgender Black women are kind of being knocked off stepping stones that we have accomplished over these last few years with Black Girls Rock and Black Girl Magic. I really don't know how to feel. Those are the only things that I'm really confused on. It's like I want to respect people and their differences. I don't want to police people in their gender identity or their sexual orientation or their lifestyle, and I want to be respectful to everyone because at the end of the day, you are a human being. It just comes down to that. But at the same time, I still don't want to get lost in the sauce and lose rights that I have as a cisgender woman. And that's the part that sucks. It's almost like they want us to choose. Either you're for trans or you're against them. And it's like, I don't want to be against them, so where does that put me? But I still want to be able to stand in my own rights as a cisgender woman. That's all that I have regarding this video. Again, please be respectful in the comments. I want to keep the comment section very, very educational. I want perspectives down there in the comment section. I want new information in the comment section. Maybe there is some stuff that I missed. I really just want this to be discussed, and honestly, I'm looking to be informed with my comment section, and I'm also looking for understanding. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell so that you're notified when I upload, and I'll catch you in my next one.